necessary. We're here to give you the news, weather, and traffic you need, and the music you love. But if the foreign-owned record labels get their way, it could stop the music. They want Congress to force radio stations to pay them more money, simply to play their music. Don't let radio go silent. Text LOCAL to 52886 and tell Congress to protect local radio stations. This message furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters.
News time is 11 minutes after 7 o'clock here on this Wednesday morning. Top of the morning from the newsroom of Regional Radio and DeWittDailyNews.com. I'm Seth Lawrence with this expanded local newscast brought to you by Baum Chevrolet Buick in Clinton, your Silverado headquarters, and the morning show streams to Facebook and YouTube. It's brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. Clinton police investigated a hit-and-run accident on Saturday, March 18th at Van Buren and Madison. The investigation found a vehicle driven by 54-year-old Ryan Dalton was eastbound on Van Buren and was stopped at the light. A vehicle driven by 40-year-old Arginaldo Ramirez Velasquez of Clinton was eastbound on Van Buren and did not get stopped in time, colliding with Dalton. Ramirez Velasquez walked away from the scene and was located a few minutes later. Ramirez Velasquez was arrested for driving under the influence of alcohol, driving while license suspended, operating an uninsured motor vehicle, and leaving the scene of a property damage accident. Ramirez Velasquez was transported to the DeWitt County Jail and released to corrections. Work on U.S. Highway 51 in the Decatur area is underway. It's being praised by Central Illinois lawmaker Dan Calkins, who says the Central Illinois Highway has been in dire need of attention for some time.
Well, we're seeing it here in Macon County, particularly here in Decatur. They're back working on Route 51 south of town. They're going to be working on it north. I know there's a public kind of a hearing or informational hearing coming up about the next two years, I believe, what's going to be happening here in the 88th district. We're working, right now on the second bridge going over Lake Decatur. We've got that down to one lane. It's kind of confusing if you're coming across Lakeshore Drive and wanting to go south. But, this weather warms up a little bit. These guys will be on it. I'm sure they've got a couple of years worth of work here. As you know, these roads have been neglected for way too long. We've patched potholes and done stuff.
According to Representative Calkins, the intersection at Maroa Forsyth High School is a point of emphasis because of the dangers it poses before and after school times.
We're also working, been a big issue at the intersection in Maroa up by the high school. That's a very dangerous intersection. I tried for the last 4 years to get IDOT to do something. They did a traffic study and said it didn't meet their requirements. Now we have some other folks involved, Dr. Howder, who represents that area, Senator Sally Turner, and I, and we're asking, we got IDOT to do another traffic study, and it came back just the same, which I knew it would, because they do, they run these traffic studies, 24 hours a day for so many days, and then they look at how many cars go through that intersection. But what that traffic study doesn't show is when those cars are going through that intersection and when the busy times are. They don't take that into consideration. But we need a stoplight there. We need a stoplight during school hours, before and after school, particularly during the week, and during sporting events. I mean, it is dangerous trying to get through that intersection, and you got young kids driving, and it's parents are fearful. I don't blame them. So we're in the appeal process with IDOT. So if you're listening to this in the Maroa Forsyth School District, we are continuing to push this. It's just that the process that IDOT uses is I don't think is very beneficial, or it doesn't accurately reflect the needs of what we need at that intersection.
Representative Calkins, though, is critical of the lack of attention downstate is getting in the infrastructure package that was signed by the governor early on in his tenure. While he is appreciative of some of the areas that have been addressed, he says more needs to be done.
Obviously, things aren't going as quickly downstate as we'd like. Just lots of roads, as you and I talked about, between going north out of Decatur, between the city of Decatur and Maroa. That stretch of road is in desperate need of repair. I mean, there's just so many projects that have been neglected for so long, and they've got plenty of money. They put plenty of money into this stuff. They're just really, really slow in getting to us here in Central Illinois. We'll continue to push IDOT, and we want to get them to do more. We got 72, kind of fixed up now between Decatur and Champaign, and also between Decatur and Springfield. It's in pretty good shape now. So we need to focus on some of these other state highways for sure.
Representative Calkins speculates one of the reasons work is slow to get done in Illinois is because the cost to fix roads in Illinois is so much more than in neighboring states, and there's lots of regulations when it comes to infrastructure work that contractors have to jump through. Producers across the country are watching closely as the latest farm bill gets crafted in Washington, D.C. The University of Illinois Extension is offering a program about the upcoming farm bill and issues that could perhaps be top of mind as it is crafted. Extension Director for Logan, Menard, and Sangamon counties, Terry Miller Casey, on the WHOW Morning Show Tuesday, told Regional Radio this is a timely webinar happening Thursday, as Tuesday was National Ag Day.
Yeah, well, since we're on ag topic, I'm going to make sure everybody knows that we've got a really exciting webinar coming up that I hope that all of our producers can participate in. It's on the 2023 Farm Bill, Climate and Agriculture Policy, and it's part of a whole series that we're doing along with Indiana Extension as well. And that event is on March 23rd, so it's coming right up, and it's from 1 to 2 p.m., and it is online and it's free, so anyone can participate. It's going to dive into some pretty heavy topics. We know the discussion's well underway for the 2023 Farm Bill, and climate's likely to play a pretty large role in that debate. So this webinar is going to explore the key sections of climate impacts, how the bill is going to prioritize agricultural areas that are affected by climate decisions, and where these decisions may go. So the Farm Bill is going to affect farmers nationwide, and it's going to result in regulations, future decision making, and some adaptation of agricultural practices. So there's a lot to unwrap there. So hopefully our producers can give some expert opinions and some thoughts about how this farm bill is going to shape up. And again, that's on March 23rd from 1 to 2 p.m. It's online and it's free.
Extension.illinois.edu is where those interested in joining this event can register. Miller Casey notes that web address also gives access to numerous other webinars of interest and previous webinars that have been made available online. A Central Illinois lawmaker was joined by dozens of students in Springfield to learn about the legislative process. Last Thursday, Senator Sally Turner welcomed students to Springfield as a part of her Youth Advisory Council. She explains around 20 students were able to return to the Capitol for the annual forum with students in her district.
We reached out to all the high schoolers, so I think we have about 20 folks here today. And last time we had this Youth Advisory Council, it was all by Zoom. So it made it a lot more difficult, and they didn't get to experience it like we wanted them to. So this time they're all here together, and we had some great speakers. We had Senator Terry Bryant here today, and we also had the former Representative Tim Butler, who's now the head of the Railroad Association. And they gave some good thoughts to just what a senator does and what a state rep does, and then of course what Tim does now as a railroad president. I'm really glad they're here, and there's some great ideas that they come up with, getting ready for them to do their bill planning and see how that's going to go for them, and we look forward to hearing what they have. It's a little strange than what I think you just learned in history class. So that is probably one of the main things, and also that we're just people, just like them. And I hope that they see that and know that maybe that's something that they want to aspire to have some public service in their lives too. Well, it's their world. So it's really important that they know how it works and how to get something done. And just the basic idea of how what they do every day and the ideas that they come up with affect the world in general and in their home.
Ava Longfellow from Hayworth High School believes the legislative process is important to everyone because policies proposed and enacted will touch them in some way.
I think it's important for young people to learn about the legislative process because it affects everyone. And although it may not affect us directly right now because we all live with our parents and we're not old enough some of us aren't old enough to vote or take part in that, it's going to affect us. And a bill that's put in place now could affect us years down the line. So it's just important to be knowledgeable about all aspects of politics. I really enjoy our civics class. I like debating and hearing different people's sides on things because I know that I come from a very small town and I know that that's not the perspective of the entire world. I'm not going to have the same perspective as other people will. So I like hearing how different people think. I feel like I should, after just hearing everyone talk about certain things that they do in their community to make it a better place, I feel like I could think more as a community member and not more of myself. So even if something doesn't directly affect me, it would affect someone else and I should be a part of that because that's how things change. I've learned a lot and I'm more interested in the whole process of things now than I was before.
Monticello High School senior Biniam Lenhart went to Springfield to learn more about the legislative process. As a potential political science major in college, he hoped to learn more about communication in politics.
I was actually asked by my principal, and I thought it would be a cool experience to see what it's like at the Capitol. And I'm a big member of our committees at our school, and I like to get involved. And I thought this was a good idea to go and see what it's like. I don't think a lot of people know. I don't know a lot about how the legislative process works. And I thought, we need, for the future when we're voting, I feel like we're not just voting for random people. We have to know who we're voting for, what they stand for, and a lot of things like that. I'm going into political science, so I thought this was a very good idea to come. And communication is a big key to it. So knowing when to speak and how to speak and being confident when speaking is, I think, pretty crucial to what I'm going into.
According to Emma Petro from Mount Pulaski High School, she learned a lot about the legislative process and also spoke to the importance of communicating with those that have a different perspective.
So I'm part of the Land of Lincoln CEO, and so the LTEC group was offered to send some students. So they took me and 2 people from Harlem as well. And I just felt like it was a good opportunity to build my network and just dig deeper into the community. Honestly, everything that's happening, I've learned. I don't really know anything beforehand about the way the Senate runs. And so I feel like having this mock debate is really beneficial for us. I feel like I'm going to get a lot of good talking skills and presentation skills as well. I feel like it's really important for the younger generation to get those because I feel it's something that we all lacked since we're often behind screens for most things. Yeah, I think it's great that we're including like a bunch of different schools with people of all kinds of backgrounds and being able to talk to people that we've never met and just be able to have that relationship with them and get their input and change our own ideas because we're being open to other people's thoughts and opinions.
Senator Turner's Youth Advisory Council program allows high school students to learn more about government through 2 meetings held each school year. During the fall meeting, students heard from local leaders and had the opportunity to discuss issues important to them. During this week's meeting, the students took on the various roles involved in the legislative process for a mock committee hearing in an actual Senate committee room at the Capitol. The students served as lawmakers discussing and voting on the proposal concerned citizens and lobbyists advocating for and against the issue, and reporters covering the hearings. Senator Turner encourages interested students in the future to ask their teachers or principals about taking part in the future. News time is 24 minutes after the hour here on this Wednesday morning. Plenty more to get to coming your way next on the WHOW Morning Show.
If you think a new or used car is in your future, the time is now to call the Baum Chevrolet Buick sales team here in Clinton or Farmer City. This is Scott Baum. With a professional sales consultant in your corner, the vehicle search is easy. Meet with our sales team to go over your wants and needs. We'll start the search and do all the legwork for you. With so many models and options to choose from, we can help you get the information you need. BombChevyBuick.com. Right from the start.
News time is 25 minutes after the hour here on this Wednesday. Again, we stream to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin insurance agent in Clinton. Illinois Farm Bureau staff are watching developments in Springfield on pieces of legislation involved in agriculture. An update from the organization's director of state legislation, Kevin Semlo.
I mean, probably the biggest ones that we continue to work on are the trailer bills for the wind and solar siting bill that was passed during lame duck session. There are a couple bills that are still alive in the process. They had their deadlines extended. And we're negotiating with the wind companies and the solar companies to see about restoring drainage district rights and making sure there's draining plans. So when the wind tower is cited through the county's local ordinances, there's some minimum standards there. So we're continuing to work on that legislation. Probably one of the biggest bills that did not make it out of committee that we have a big focus on was one to change the definition of what a navigable water in the state of Illinois was. That was House Bill 1568. That bill would have basically taken the current ownership of all property that you own, including waterways, and turn the waterways over into public access. So someone could go down a stream that's running through your property. If you live along a smaller river or tributary, that you own the property underneath that, because that's the way the Constitution was written back in 1818. There was a bill to take that away, which would have given individuals the rights to go up and down your waterways for navigable purposes for recreational use. That was a huge, big violation of private property rights. It was unconstitutional, and we worked very hard to see that bill be held in the House Executive Committee. That was, of course, being pushed by one of the largest environmental groups in the state of Illinois. So for right now, that bill is not alive. Of course, we'll keep an eye out to see if it comes back as an amendment somewhere else.
The adjournment date for this spring legislative session is May 19th. Increasing the ag debt and the and the importance on Illinois grain farmers is the subject of a recent piece in the Farm Doc Daily website. Author Brad Zwilling with the Illinois Farm Business Farm Management has more.
Yeah, this is probably important this time of year, as a lot of farmers are, have or are finishing up some renewal on their operating notes, kind of getting their year ready. They've kind of locked in some inputs. They probably priced some grain for the 2023 year. But they need to think about, if they haven't already, they need to continue to think about doing cash flows and budgeting for the upcoming year, and remembering where their debt load is and the impact that has on the whole farming operation. Debt in whole for farms has been increasing over time.
You can find the piece at farmdocdaily.illinois.edu, where a different article is posted each business day. Community colleges in Illinois are enjoying the largest enrollment increase in more than a decade. Spring enrollment is up by more than 7% over the last year. State Community College Board Executive Director Brian Durham.
This, I think, shows that we're shifting back, to pre-pandemic levels. And ultimately, we see a lot of growth in areas like career tech ed and vocational skills training that are very hands-on.
Adult enrollment at community colleges rose by 29% over the year, and the number of students taking dual credit courses increased by more than 10%. Coverage of the morning show brought to you by Baum Chevrolet Buick in Clinton, your Silverado headquarters, and the morning show streams to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin insurance agent in Clinton. A look at local sports comes your way next. The Clinton Lady Maroons softball team was able to get a game in before the rain arrived in central Illinois yesterday. A recap of their game at LeRoy next.
With SRN News, I'm Rich Thomason in Washington. Chinese President Xi Jinping and Russian President Vladimir Putin concluded their three-day summit in Moscow with praise for each other and a new economic cooperation agreement, Beijing also touting its peace plan for Ukraine. Former President Trump is in Florida, but he'd have to go to New York if he were to be indicted. The Manhattan grand jury continues its work. Cost of borrowing could be going up again. We'll find out today when the Fed wraps up its latest policy meeting. Winter may be over, but the atmospheric rivers that have upended life in California persist. Another storm is coming in off the Pacific. Los Angeles public schools are closed again today, the second day of a 3-day strike by service workers, with teachers honoring the walkout. On Wall Street, Dow futures 16 points higher, NASDAQ futures down 26. More details at srnnews.com.
Time now for a look at sports. I'm Seth Lawrence with this report. Natalie Loy had 6 runs batted in leading LeRoy past Clinton 12-2 in a 5-inning 10-run rule win Tuesday afternoon from LeRoy High School in non-conference high school girls softball. Loy was 3 for 3 and a triple short of the cycle. Finley Howard finished 2 for 3 with a home run and 3 RBIs, while Emily Bagema finished 1 for 3 with a pair of RBIs. Haley Cox overcame 7 walks to win in circle for the Lady Panthers. Brooke Reeves walked 3 times, stole a base, and scored a run for the Lady Maroons. Heidi Humble had an RBI, and Annalise Thompson doubled. Ashley Armstrong took the loss in circle despite 5 strikeouts to just 1 walk. Clinton moves to 1-2. LeRoy is 4-0. Clinton is scheduled to travel to St. Joseph Ogden on Thursday. Illinois won its first game at Illinois Field this season with a 6-4 victory over Bradley Tuesday afternoon. The win was number 517 in head coach Dan Hartlib's career, putting him just 1 behind Lee Eilbrock for the most in school history. Illinois struck first in the contest, scoring twice in the third to go up 2-0. Connor Milton started the frame with a double and scored on an infield single from Cal Hezja. Hezja would later score on a wild pitch. The Illini added a run in the fourth when Cam Janik took the first pitch of the inning deep to left for his 4th home run of the season. Bradley would score 3 times in the 5th to tie the game with a solo home run and a 2-run double in the frame. Illinois hit back in the bottom of the inning with a 3 spot to retake the lead. Brendan Comia and Cam McDonald each singled. Drake Westcott then crushed an opposite field home run to left, his 6th of the season, to give Illinois the 6-3 lead. The Braves would come back with a run in the 6th to cut it to 6-4, but TJ Constantina and Joe Glassy would keep the visitors off the board over the final 3 innings, allowing just 2 hits and struck out 3. Jake Swartz turned in another solid midweek start, allowing 3 runs over 4 2/3 innings of work to go along with 4 strikeouts. Comia extended his on-base streak to 57 games after going 2 for 3 with a run and 2 walks. Westcott went 2 for 3 with a run, a home run, 3 RBIs, and a walk. Janik finished 1 for 3 with a run, a home run, and an RBI. He and Comia have reached base safely in all 17 games this season. Illinois begins Big Ten play Friday when they head to Lincoln, Nebraska to take on the Cornhuskers for 3 games at Hawks Field at Haymark Park. The Illinois State baseball team never recovered from allowing 4 first-inning runs in a 10-3 Tuesday loss to Minnesota at Duffy Bass Field as Redbird pitchers conceded 12 hits and 11 free passes. The 6-9 Redbirds hit into 2 double plays in the first 3 innings and left the bases loaded in the 5th and stranded 2 base runners in both the 7th and 8th innings. Senior Dylan Swarmer had a home run reduced to a triple after the umpire deemed he missed home plate to go with a pair of singles to lead the Redbirds. Sophomore Noah Rabin also had a trio of hits. The Golden Gophers moved to 4-18 overall. Illinois State is scheduled to play Minnesota at 1 o'clock today at Duffy Bass Field. Lucas Raymond's goal in the fourth round of a shootout gave the Detroit Red Wings a 3-2 win over the St. Louis Blues Tuesday night. Raymond's goal was the only one from either team in the tiebreaker. He is 3 for 8 in a career shootout attempts. Alex Chasen and Philip Zadina scored in regulation for the Wings, who stopped a 3-game losing streak. Magnus Hellberg made 20 saves and denied all 4 attempts in the shootout. Robert Bertuzzo and Marco Scandella scored for the Blues, who won their previous 3 games against Detroit. Joel Hofer had 28 saves, taking his first loss in his 3rd game since being recalled from Springfield of the AHL last Thursday. St. Louis got first period goals from 2 unlikely sources. Bertuzzo gave them the lead at 2:21 of the first period with his 2nd goal of the season and the first since New Year's Eve. Scandella scored midway through the first, his first goal since April 24th of 22, but Detroit had an answer for each St. Louis goal. Chasen got the Red Wings on the board with a power play goal at the 7:49 mark, burying a perfect feed from David Piran. Zadina's goal late in the first evened it at 2. Raymond was inches away from giving the Red Wings the lead in the final seconds of the second period as his shot trickled between Hofer's legs, but Hofer was able to recover and pounce on the puck before it could be tapped over the goal line. Piran made his first appearance in St. Louis since signing with the Red Wings as a free agent prior to the season. He had 3 separate stints with the Blues and was a first-round pick by St. Louis in 2007 and a part of the 2019 Stanley Cup championship team. Piran received a standing ovation from the crowd after being honored with a video tribute during a break in the first. The Blues carried 3 goaltenders as Jordan Binnington returned after a 2-game suspension. The teams played the first of a unique home-and-home set, the only times they face each other this season. The rematch is Thursday night in Detroit. Shohei Ohtani got Mike Trout to swing under a slider on the outside corner, sealing Japan's 3-2 win Tuesday night and its first World Baseball Classic title since 2009. Ohtani, the two-way star who has captivated fans across the 2 continents, was voted MVP of the World Baseball Classic, hitting .435 with a homer, 4 doubles, 8 RBIs, drew 10 walks. He went 2-0 on the mound with a save, a 1.86 ERA, and struck out 11 in 9 2/3 total innings. Japan joins Team Dominican Republic in 2013 as the only unbeaten champions of baseball's premier national team tournament. The Samurai Warriors went 7-0 and outscored opponents 56-18, reaching the final for the first time since winning the first 2 World Baseball Classics in 2006 and 2009. No other nation has won the title more than once. Trey Turner put the U.S. ahead in the second against Shota Imanaga with his 5th home run of the tournament, tying the World Baseball Classic record set by South Korea's Sung-Yup Lee in 2006. Munetega Murakami tied the score on the first pitch of the bottom half of the inning off Merrill Kelly, driving a fastball 432 feet into the right field upper deck, a 115.1 mile-per-hour bullet. Japan loaded the bases, and Lars Nootbaar, the first non-Japanese-born player to appear for the Samurai Warriors, followed by with a run-scoring ground-out off Aaron Loop to give them a 2-1 lead. Okamoto boosted the lead in the 4th when he sent a flat slider from Kyle Freeland over the wall in left center for yet another solo homer. Kyle Schwarber pulled the Americans within a run when he went deep in the 8th off Yu Darvish. Ohtani was Japan's DH and first went to the bullpen ahead of the 6th inning. He returned to the dugout to beat out an infield single in the 7th before again walking to the left field line to Japan's bullpen and warming up for his 3rd mound appearance of the tournament. He walked big league champ Jeff McNeil to begin the 9th, then got 6-time All-Star Mookie Betts to ground into a double play. That brought Trout, the U.S. captain and 10-time All-Star and a 3-time MVP, to the plate. Ohtani started the at-bat with a slider low, then got Trout to swing through a 100-mile-per-hour fastball. Another fastball sailed outside, and Trout missed a 99.8-mile-per-hour pitch over the middle, a 101.6 offering. The fastest of Ohtani's pitches was low and way outside. Ohtani stepped off the mound and blew on his pitching hand, went back to an off-speed option, a slider, Trout grimaced after his futile swing, his 12th strikeout of the tournament, in which he hit .296 with just 1 home run and 7 RBIs. Ohtani raised both arms and threw his glove, then his cap, as his teammates mobbed him. Japan gets $3 million in prize money, and the U.S. $1.7 million. Half of each goes to players, the other half to the National Baseball Federation. Major League Baseball openers are March 30th, the same day that Japan starts its season. Get sports anytime at DeWittDailyNews.com.
This is staff meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki with your regional radio forecast. Overcast today with a chance for scattered rain showers. Daytime highs approaching 58. Southerly winds 10 to 15 miles per hour. Cloudy tonight, scattered thunderstorms likely, lows around 52. Scattered thunderstorms again tomorrow, high temperatures reach up to 61, cloudy skies. Hear weather twice an hour or online anytime at DeWittDailyNews.com. Currently, it's 42.
Hello again, everyone. This is Stu Ellis, swinging open the farm gate for you once again today. Well, you